Okay, so this is going to be the first part of our review for the final. For those of you that are lucky enough to take the final, which I know you're extremely excited. So, excuse me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you first, in this first video, is review the triangle inequality theorem. Now, the triangle inequality theorem, remember, dictates whether or not we can form a triangle based on certain given side lengths. It also helps us determine, if we know two side lengths of a triangle, what the range could possibly be for the third side. So, for the triangle inequality theorem, just to review you, the triangle inequality theorem says that the smaller two sides, okay, the two smallest sides of the triangle must have a sum, and if you remember what a sum is, that means they add together, must have a sum greater, again, the two smallest sides must have a sum greater than the third side, which is the largest side, or longest. Okay, so that's what we're going to use to figure this out. So let's look at the first one. Can the given side lengths form a triangle? Well, let's find out. In order for them to form a triangle, the smallest two sides have to have a sum greater than the third side. So let's look at this one. What are our two smallest sides? 7 and 6. Okay, 7 and 6. So we're going to look at 7 and 6. 7 plus 6, and we're going to compare it to 8. Now, if it's a triangle, 7 plus 6 should equal something greater than 8. The sum has to be greater. 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 is, in fact, greater than 8. So, yes, this forms a triangle. Okay? Because the two smaller sides added together sum up to something larger than the third side. Okay, so let's look at this one. Excuse me, allergies. Either that or I'm allergic to triangles. The two smallest sides here are 1 and 2. So I'm going to compare 1 and 2 to 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. But when I get down here, that's equal to 3. That means it cannot be a triangle. Remember, the stipulation is that the sum has to be greater. 3 is not greater than 3. It's equal, so that is not a triangle. So let's look at this one. Our two smallest sides are 9 and 5. So I'm going to compare 9 plus 5 to 16. 9 plus 5 is 14. 14 is actually less than 16, so this is not a triangle either. So only number 1 is a triangle because it's greater than the two smallest ones. Here we're equal, here we're less than. The sum of the two smallers has to be bigger than the other, the larger side. So let's look at number 4, and we're going to look at number 4, and it's going to be looking at finding a range. So we're given that these two triangles, what is the possible range of the side lengths for the third side, given that these are the first two? Well, the first thing we're going to have to look at is, all right, let's say these are the two smallest. So if 6 and 4 are the smallest, what's 6 plus 4? It's 10. Okay, so the third side has to be smaller than what? 10. Okay, so we know that on that end, it has to be smaller than 10. Well, what if the third side here, okay, what if the missing side, okay, what if the missing side is something that affects the 6? What if this missing side is one of the smallest? So that means 4 and the missing side are the smallest sides. That means 6 is now the biggest side. So if 6 is the biggest side, 4 plus what? What would this number have to be to make this greater than 6? And the answer is 3. This side would have to be something larger than 3, because if it's 2, what happens? 4 plus 2 equals 6. If it's 1, 4 plus 1 is less than 6. So in order for this to be greater than 6, it has to be at least 3. So your range of values, the x side that's missing, it has to be smaller than 10 but larger than 3. It has to be smaller than 10 because it can't be anything that would be larger than 6 plus 4. It has to be greater than 3 because it can't be anything that would be smaller than 6. So let's look at the second one. If 13 and 11 are the smallest, what's 13 plus 11? 24. Okay? So that last number cannot be anything greater than 23.99999. It has to be smaller than 24, because if it's 24 or larger, 13 plus 11 would equal it or be less. Now, if 11 and this number are the two smallest sides, they have to equal something greater than what? 13. So 11 plus what equals 13? 2. So that means that it has to be larger than 2. It's got to be larger than 2 so that 11 plus that number gets us something greater than 13. And it has to be smaller than 24 because it can't be larger than these two added together. So there is your range of values. And that's your triangle inequality theorem.